Hello, hello, and welcome to the Motzi Make stream. I'm Motzi, and that's about all you get tonight. I just felt like sounding excited to start my stream. You know, bring on the excitement. Oh my gosh, what a blast from the Kent! Kent, how are you? How are you? How have you been? Tell me everything. Start from when you were a child. It's 3 a.m. for you. Wait, you're in Singapore, right? Is that where you are? Well, is that good or bad? Are you up late or early? Are you getting ready to go to bed? Or are you here for the long haul? Do you like peanut butter or jelly? Are you into fishing? Tell me more about your preferences on rollerblading versus regular rollers. Just answer all the questions at once. That's how I prefer it. Hope things will be good with you. Alterium is kicking butt, right? Yeah. Question mark? I think we're doing okay. When you have an early access launch game, that means that people can leave reviews, and sometimes it's just hard to keep up with that. It's like reviews are a hard thing to deal with. I'm not gonna lie. Like I do enjoy some aspect of it, but I also feel like there's a lot of people out there who want to make their opinions known, and sometimes it's hard to deal with. Not like major complaints. Honestly, I just get annoyed when it's like, oh, the thing's not working. It's like, well, did you ask for help? Did you get support? It's like, no, it's just like something didn't work like I expect. Thumbs down. I know health criticism. It's not criticism, to be honest. I mean, like, it's the. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't. It's fine. Everything's fine. There's nothing wrong. It's just one of those things, Been working on stuff, doing cool things. It's not really like, I think that it's really that the learning experience is amazing when you get real users, unless like your game is perfect sweet spot where everyone loves it. There's always going to be people who don't. It doesn't really fit. But why are you up at 3 a.m.? Are you what? What's going on? You didn't answer my questions, by the way, and I asked only a couple of them, so I'm still waiting for the answers. Every answer, possibly. And while you consider your answers to my questions, I'm going to talk about what I'm going to work on tonight. So, I've been working on. Well, for me, I've been working on some really cool stuff. Here's what happened. I passed out like 7, so here we are now. So it's early morning. Okay. I guess technically I'm early. Yeah, welcome. It's great to have you here this early in the morning. You're not usually here that early. I actually don't usually start streaming this early either. So, I have been working on some core system enhancements to the game. Did I get there? I got there. Okay. And it's quite interesting because the funny part about some of the things I solve, if someone's making a game from scratch, some of these things would not be problems to solve. And yet I've created my own punishment. So like we're on a world and all these little things like the lamppost is an object, right? So conceivably I can make a way that I can interact with anything generically. But because I'm working through the Smile Game Builder system, the work is more to make it actually do what I want. And recently I figured out how to make it work like I want. So Tyra has an on-map ability to smash and slash things. She's the smashy slashy character. It's not an ARPG, so it's more like an interaction capability. And I finally figured out how to make all, like the static objects that exist on the map be interactable generically. So, like when you go talk to a box, that's an event that has a very specific message that we have to actually script individually But now I can also do things that are statically interactable, so that if I were to do an interaction like slashing at it or talking to it, I can make it happen. Nope, I did not. It's a very, I mean, like, it's a really interesting, in my opinion, solution. Because in Smile Game Builder, they have the idea of events. Wait, did you use, I can't remember if you used SGB before. They have this idea of an event, and the event is an object that has additional weight to it in terms of overhead, because it adds these scripts, and the scripts get shoved into a runner, and it's got to be evaluated whether it's going to run or not. And so it adds overhead every event. But this only adds one event. It adds, behind the scenes, it adds one event for every object. It's not adding one. What I mean is like one that covers any of the objects. So if there's one lamppost model on the map, one event will do for every one of them, any of them that show up. I don't know if I'm explaining this right. So if I go, don't you know? If I go into here, come back here, over here. If I go into here, you can see that this is the lamppost event it's called a map object event. It's tied to light post 01. And when the character does an attack message, or the event is attacked, which I'm probably going to change that trigger to something else, then these things will trigger for it. So it's kind of an interesting way to set up an effect. So I still have to do more to make this work better, because they're static objects. Hey Rasa, how's it going? How no, konnichiwa. No. Ohio gozaimasu. Morning there. My Japanese not good. So yeah, it's going to be really useful overall, but I got just some enhancements to that thing. Konnichiwa do. Konnichiwa. What's the ampersand? Is that do? What? Let's see the ampersand. Oh, it says konnichiwa and Ohio gozaimasu. I'm getting a little bit better at reading it, I guess. Konnichiwa and... Is that what you said? Ohio gozaimasu. I'm breakfast sushi. I don't see sushi in there. Where's sushi? I see Masu. I see the su at the end. Where's the other su? There's no sushi in here. Don't sushi my face. Here is your... Oh, I see. I thought you said I was breakfast sushi. I misread you. Salmon, egg, and tuna. Not a tuna. Anyway. I'm totally distracted. But yeah, so I started this with I was going to make high-res ability work on the map, and it turned into I have to solve this broader problem. But now I've got the main guts of the problem solved, and I need to do the next phase of it. And I've been trying to do actual documentation when I start streaming. I don't know how interesting that is for people. I have kind of asked. Some people are like, I don't care what you're working on. But it has been useful for me to make sure that I frame up what I'm trying to accomplish before I dive right into writing code, which can be hit or miss in terms of success. Ken, by the way, how are your game projects going? You were working on that MMORPG pixel game. Nice pride flags. Appreciate that. My daughter is LGBT. You? Kent, I remember lots of things about you. I know where you live. I know your house. I've seen you living in your house. Not that far. I remember when you used to do voxels way back in the day, but then you gave up on it because you're not as cool as me. You also were working on a different game, but I'll be honest, I don't remember what the different game was. The last one I remember was the Pixel MMORPG with the little like hopping around, and there was some kind of bar for attacks. I can't remember all of it, like, vaguely. I think I played it a little bit. We moved house and stuff, so it was a lot of work. I also remember when I went on to, I found you on Twitter, and I started going and liking all of your stuff, and you're like, "Whoa, why is Mati liking my stuff?" I can't remember if I freaked you out by that or something. I think you just thought it was funny. Anyway, so we're working on this on map ability, which is actually the map action ability. So I actually got most of this stuff. Let's see, create a node for triggers. That also worked. I think I'm gonna cross off the things I know are working, just so I can be true to myself. Yeah, it's been a hot minute. A lot of things have changed in the world. Once the pandemic stuff got downgraded and people started going out again, streaming became less important for people to watch. The whole like sphere of traffic just died out, basically. Yeah, that to eliminate the reliance on SGB core as much as possible. I'm going to call that a win. Sure, I did that. I did figure this one out too. So I'm going to cross that out. I did update it. I'm going to have to make another update. Oh, I did that too. Yeah, I did all this. This is cool. I did lots of stuff. Hydrate. Good idea. Thank you. So anyway, Kent, it's nice to see you back. Want to know more about your game dev at some point. Script running map update script process. Okay, so I actually did everything I had said I was going to do between my last two streams. Now I got to do the next phase of it. So I'm gonna put a note here. So wiring events, common events, and I'm going to make a new update here, which will be node handling. It'll be the node that handles that. Yep. So big mug. You like my big mug? Watch this. Wait. How is my mug? Hello. It doesn't really do as good as I thought it would. Like a little. Hi. I always like that big face. But I'm also drinking bai. I don't think that's Japanese for anything. It's some other word, but the way it's written almost sounds like hi. There's no B. There's no purely B sound in Japanese, right? There's not like a B. Not sake. It's an antioxidant infusion. Malawi mango. Hawaii though. I just learned the word is it kawaii, right? Which is Japanese for cute. So is Kauai, like the island of Kauai, somehow there's some roots to Japanese? Or is it just coincidence? Kauai cute, yeah. I know. Like Rasa-san wa Kauai hito desu. I didn't say Rasamatek, but I know the basics. Map object node handling. So let's take a trip to Kauai. Yes, exactly. To the cute little island out there. Map objects need to be handled differently. to reacting to triggers because they are essentially static. Yes, we want these objects to have the ability to respond to multiple triggers based on which trigger is happening and the conditions on the object. Hey Aya, how you doing? How goes your game development, by the way? Everyone's making games around here, so. So basically, what I'm going to do here is, since I should probably work, I don't know. It's going well. I'm just, starting, trying to get some work done. So the way Smile Game Builder works, and this is sort of their core system. They have these things called events, and I think this is based off of the way RPG Maker would work, because again, they base it off of RPG Maker stuff. They have this notion of sheets, and the sheets have conditions, and based on whether the condition is true or not, that'll be the sheet that is currently active, and each sheet has one type of trigger. So the way events work is you can only have one trigger at any given time. So if you want to change the trigger that an event handles, you have to have a condition that changes. So there's no condition that allows you for it to have an event accept multiple triggers or look for multiple triggers at once. You literally have to change something to cause one of these tabs to switch to accept a different trigger. So if I wanted something that triggered when you talk to something versus when you collided, I'd have to have two different events, like completely different events. Frustrating stuff, but I finally got it to work today. What were you stuck on? Planting system. Okay. Found a weird bug. Yeah. I know how that goes. Sometimes you can't avoid it too, and you're just like, okay, I'm gonna eat the cost now because it'll be worse later on if I don't. So when I created the equivalent of the Smile Game Builder system, I made this called Event Trigger Advanced, which lets me, which you won't be able to see it here, but it would let me tie into an event on a map or somewhere. Events are usually tied to maps. And then I could do things like add sheets that are similar to what you see in Smile Game Builder. However, the way static map objects work, or are intended to work, is they are generic, and any map object event that has this model will automatically have this trigger. So the problem is, how do you make this be able to accept being attacked and be able to be interacted with? Which is, I imagine, a use case you'd want for common events. You might want to interact, you might want to smack it with your spear or shoot it with your arrows. You might want to have something where you bump into it or whatever. Now that might be overkill, but I think it makes sense that we want this to behave differently. So what I'm thinking of doing on the user editor perspective, this is still a development tool. I'm going to move this trigger outside of the sheets, and whenever you add an event, it's an event plus a trigger, or it's a model plus a trigger. And the reason I think that would be valuable is that if I wanted to have, any bush have more than one type of trigger, I would need to have more than one of these in order to have different actions happen. And I think that's valid. Hey, Rogue. Yeah. Hi. Hey, totally not Killboy. How's it going? Want to stop and say, hey, at Tattoo Convention? All right. Well, let me know if you needle anything. Just tell me what you ink, okay? That's Composy, my wife. Sorry. She's got a big launch party tomorrow. My wife. That's your wife. And I have Composy. That it doesn't lead to your newest album, but okay. I think if you go there, it'll probably show your other album. I'm just organized. She's being organized. What's launching? She's launching into the sky. I just put the links. Composing, my wife, right here, is a music teacher / musician.
Yeah.
She's really cute. And she has a new album she put out, more geared towards kids.
Children of all ages.
Children of all ages.
Well, because it has like Talking Heads references.
True.
Yeah, no, it's a kids album.
Primarily focused as a kids album.
And we have a big party tomorrow with bounce houses and vendors and snacks.
Yes, and she's going to sing while jumping in a bounce house, right?
Oh, that would not work. Especially because my ukulele doesn't have a strap.
Yeah, that would be uker bad. Wait, like super bad. Anyway, she's, you don't seem very nervous about this composing. She's an old pro at this now, apparently. I mean, given that we stream all the time, I feel like you just get kind of used to this stuff. Just by rote. Anyway, so she's amazing. That's her stuff and her Twitch. She doesn't do any programming. She's just adorable. Wait, did you just... No, okay. Isaac, I shouted you out? You shouted you out.
Oh,
there. That's right. It's automatic. It's automatic. Anyway. So I'm going to finish my thoughts on this thing now. So to allow map objects to handle multiple triggers, we are going to make the trigger mechanism a first order condition at the top of the map object event node. So I kind of talked through, I don't know if I really need to do much more documentation. So basically I just need to move this up here and make it stick through. And I think that's all I really need to do. I want to change this on attacked. I want to make it like on ability 1 versus ability 2, which I wonder. I have so many avenues to address this, but I think I need it to be triggered from another location. Like I could literally look for the key. Hey Dickie, how's it going? How's it going, Double D? No? How are you? How you been since however many days ago it was? I mean, I literally have a condition that lets me do input, but I feel like we really want to be specific about the event, not do this weird condition. I think this would get more confusing than less. Just goofing off. Hey, I get it. Apparently me too. I'm obviously not working hard. I'm hardly working. So I don't really know how much I need to note on this. But what else do I need to note? I need to note. Let me go back to where I have code changes, because I do need to add some changes here. Ensure event object placed at point of player action consistently. So when I have to make sure that that object that reacts to the map object always is moved around. There's one object. I got to like shove it around on the map, which is okay too. Like it's not going to be very code intensive essentially. Fix that. I was trying to do some object pooling. Turns out the way their system works, it didn't quite do what I wanted it. So I disabled that for Meow. And that's not important. So let's move on from that. So we're going to do map object event. Yeah. And we'll find the trigger. Because I'm trigger happy every day. Oh, you know what we have to do? We're going to have to do something in the event sheet to hide the trigger. So we have this object ID, and underneath this we're going to say we're going to have to get the triggers that we can use. Okay. Let me go look in here real quick. Because I don't want the map object triggers to be used. Event trigger node, map object, trigger types. So this puppy right here. How do I want to do this? How do I live without you? I want to know. I think I'm going to steal this code and then modify it. I think that's what I'm going to do. Day in Montreal, I saw Notepad++ and You did? Where'd you see that? They put it in my... They put Notepad++ in my title? No, it's not. It's IntelliJ. It's writer. I don't use Notepad++. Sorry to disappoint you. You're welcome to stay, but you won't see any Notepad++ on my screen. I don't use that. No, it's fine. I don't want to lie to you. That's all. You're brand new. You're welcome to see what I'm working on. The C#. I'm working on this game right here. Which, really concerned why that didn't load very fast. Whatever. We're working on Alterium Shift. We really need to update our trailer, man. This is from June of last year? Wow, we got a whole new fishing game coming and all new features pending right now. I'm in Unity. The game was built originally in this engine called Smile Game Builder, but it has a Unity export that I heavily modified. In fact, what I'm working on right now is continuing along the tradition of heavily modifying this engine. So I made like a node-based system, and a lot of real serious modifications to how it works. I am gonna copy pasta this, because YOLO. I saw some like programmer humor thing on Reddit making fun of copy pasting, and I was like, why? It's just how else do you learn if you don't copy and paste? I think it's a little more than modding because I'm literally rewriting core pieces of the engine. So it's actually modifying the core. It would be like I got a web framework and used some of the web framework and then mess with some of the underlying core of the framework. I guess with the same description, but copy pasting is coding. We're not in the old eras. Yeah. The way I used to treat copy and paste was I thought it was okay to do as long as you understood the code and you refactored. So if you're going to copy and paste something and just change a couple values, that wasn't good. But if you're going to copy and paste it and like refactor it so that it was reusable, that's okay, right? Or you use copy and paste to get it working and then you go back and refactor it. Okay. So we have interact. I think I'm going to go in here and I have to decide now if it's going to be considered an attack or an ability. And I think I want to call it minor ability and major ability? Ability minor, ability major? Ability 1, ability 2? I don't think... I can't always say that one is minor and major, though. So, attack versus heavy attack. Well, but Sage's ability, their like major ability, their primary ability is maybe primary and secondary? Coding Bibles? Hold on. Do you know what language a Bible was? I don't know. Coding Bibles? No, I don't actually. Let me see. I mean, maybe I heard of it. I don't know. Well, that's the language the Bible's written in. The computer programming Bible, like this thing, coded in holy C. So I think what I'll do is I'll refactor this to be the primary ability. The primary ability, primary ability. Okay, let's talk about spelling. Primary, a little lowercase. I don't really like the snake caps, screaming caps, but that's how they did their stuff. So I don't want to refactor all their nonsense. So the primary ability is going to be the major. It's going to be the major one that they use. Secondary is going to be the one that's like, it's not as strong or it doesn't do quite as much. Doesn't have as much strength to it. Ironically, you probably get access to your secondary ability before your primary. I guess that makes sense in a weird sort of way. Maybe. We have on like that. And then we'll do on secondary ability. And the 90, you were born in 92. That was when Chrono Trigger came out, I think, or 91. In the 90s, there's basically no internet. At 7, you had to rent books from the library to get documentation. So I grew up in the 80s. I was born in 81. And what I remember, I'll show you what I remember when I was learning how to code. And I didn't like, I did get books. Like I got a C++ book. I just couldn't wrap my mind around it. HyperCard manual. So I use Macs, and there is this thing called HyperCard, which is like a, really kind of cool actually tool for doing, various things, basic development. And this was the manual they had. 200 to 300 pages. And there's a lot of concepts you'd have to kind of understand before you start reading it that I had no idea, and I was trying to make games with it. I had no idea how to do these things. This is what the code looked like. On mouse up, put welcome to HyperCard. That's a coding Bible, yeah. So this is what I used to learn HyperCard and HyperTalk. Flash 6, repeat 60. It's funny because I kind of would like some tool set like this again. The closest thing to this that became more modern was something called Real Basic. But now I guess it's apparently Jojo. I liked this because it had color and all these other things. But I had a Macintosh, so I didn't have some of the Windows-based tools. Like when Visual Studio came out, that would have probably been a good equivalent. Yeah, I mean, I think I started learning HyperCard in the 90s, though. And yeah, you couldn't just search up an answer, right? And if I did search up an answer, I wouldn't know the answer because I didn't have enough foundation. So I spent a good majority of my youth banging my head against code, literally having just inching my way through. And it was really hard for me because it turns out I have ADD. And it was exhausting. I'd start, I'm going to do this. And the effort to try and learn something when I have no idea what I'm doing was very, very high, and it would just overwhelm me, and I'd stop. Then I would get interested again, and I'd like start doing something. So I learned how to deal with it eventually, but it was a quite experience. Kind of need to learn to use references. It's a very different world now. You can just look it up. Yes, which is okay. I'm not really opposed to that. I think it would have been much nicer for me because I really didn't want to learn how to write code. I thought it was interesting, but I wanted to make stuff. I wanted to make games, and for that matter. And because of that, like, it was exhausting to try and learn the code at the same time. Vicky, I'm sorry, let's not forget Roller Tycoon. Yeah, Roller Coaster Tycoon was written in assembly, which is insane. I did try to learn assembly. Also, not really my cup of tea. My cup of assembly. So what I want to say is, show trigger maybe. Let's do like public bool show trigger. I'm gonna make this public because I'm lazy, and it's always it'll default to false. So you'd have to set it's true. It's not serialized. Perfect. Then we'll go to trigger here, and we'll only set it. We'll only show it if it can be shown. So we'll say hide if. Oops. Hide if show trigger. I wonder if that would work. What's gonna happen? Oh wait. No, I don't want to show trigger. Hide trigger. That's probably better. Hide trigger. False. Perfect. Better language here. Make sure you do things right. That's what you get. Also, when I started learning to code, I was not a great typer. So learning how to type is also a thing. Why did that not work? I thought I called it hide trigger. Just having trouble. Your mouse. Hide trigger. I don't know why it's not picking up on it. It was picking up on it before. Did I delete it? Where'd it go? What happened to my hide trigger? I literally just added it. Did I get rid of it? What is going on? I must have somehow gotten rid of it. Because I think I put it right here. I don't know how I did that. Fine. Okay. My first gaming engine was... Hold on. Oh, need to use references. First gaming engine was written in assembly. Generally, if you're programming things, you're probably not making anything someone will see. Assembly's hard, just like C language that I hate, but spend most of my time coding. I can corrupt other programs. Yeah. See, any language where you have to manage your memory is going to take a lot more thought. But the problem is the other ones that have automatic garbage collection are also not as efficient. Assembly's hard. Sorry. I don't know if it's worth it to learn programming language per se. You just need to know how to use the language. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but some languages you can do more damage than others, right? Per Day in Montreal's point. Okay, so now the trigger's on the outside. And it doesn't... Oh, I gotta set the... Hold on a second. I gotta set it so it doesn't show. So now we have to go back to here. And when we add the sheet dot hide trigger, we'll make that true. So that'll make sure the sheet doesn't show the trigger. We'll always keep it in sync. And then we have to go to the trigger method and say on value changed. Hey, Day in Montreal, thank you for the follow. Even though I'm not using Notepad++, apologize for the lack of decorum. Sorry, not sorry. I don't personally like I don't like coding in Notepad, but I'm not a Vim person either. Look at that. It knew. Oh man, Copilot, I love you, Copilot. Not as much as I love my wife, but I mean they're getting up there. A coding wingman person ever. My IDE is called Writer.
That turned out pretty cute.
You turned out pretty cute. That's pretty cute. Notepad makes more sense when it's built into the compilers. Fair. Yeah, I'm using the IntelliJ Writer IDE. I've used IntelliJ product for years. It costs money, but my gosh, it has been worth it. I've never used a better IDE than Writer. It's still, I mean, it's gotten a little chunky, but still. So I'm going to say on primary ability. It still didn't hide it. Why not? That did. That worked. Okay, so why is it not? I must have to go to hide if hide trigger true. Might have to do it this way. But that's the one that should be showing, right? It only matters from the... Oh, damn it. I think... Darn it. I think I do need to make it serialized. Okay. I just realized that it would only happen when the sheet is created. So that's part of the problem. So it has to stay... changed. All right. Oh, I actually should have left it. Go back here. Yes, change that. Okay. So I have to serialize that because it has to be something that we keep. It changes. So get set. Good. I use it, but mostly for notes now. I would not code C# in Notepad. I use Visual Studio. Yeah, I like C#. I like Writer for C# over Visual Studio. Would keep in mind at one point it made sense to use built-in Notepad to write code. Yeah, you'd also have to know how to use the terminals and more that a programmer wouldn't these days. The programmers at my company have to learn a lot of that stuff. But if you want to do a big project, it makes sense to use your ID first, not change it. Yeah. So our developers have to know how to use terminal, and a number of them have to get into some of the lower environments, as we call them. And they all use Git command line. I mean, that's to me the crazy. Like, I am not a command line person. I'm sorry. I know how to use it, but I didn't, because I grew up with Macs. I think I never absorbed the notion of just going and typing something into a terminal and getting your answers, right? And prompting it. And even though I can do it now, I still prefer when I can some GUI-based tools. So when it came to Git, I like GUIs for Git management. I don't like using the terminal, and I don't know. I don't know what it is about me. It's just the way my brain works. But I find it funny because other people are like, no, why? All these younger developers are like, no, of course I use terminal for Git. I'm like, oh gosh, I'm so bad. A Mac person who doesn't know Unix, I know how to use Linux for sure, and Unix. Mostly only speaking of game development with this. I use I know how to use all the terminal, and I know how to do even shell and bash scripts and crap. So I can do all that stuff. It's just that I don't that's not how I learn, so I don't know, I don't prefer it for some things. Like I don't prefer it for using Git. I'm fine with using it. It's not like I avoid it at all costs, but it's just not like first thing I would think about. Like, oh, is there a tool that can just help me manage this? Is what I use it. Look at. Okay, so whether or not this works because my node is old, I know that it does what I need it to do. So now I need to figure out how to trigger nodes based upon what the trigger is when it is set. And I have to prevent multiple nodes with the same trigger. So I already have, I think I have 2 on value changes in here. Let me go back to my map object. Yeah, I do. Okay. So I have to do both of these things. Anyway, yeah, I know how to code. Like, okay, so you haven't met me, Day. In terms of, this is the first time you met me. You met me now. Hi, I'm Matsi. Nice to meet you. I am a chief technology officer. So my career has consisted of, after I got out of the military, because I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years, I went to school. And then finally, at 25, I think, is when I actually started my career. I think it was at 25. 2003 was when I got out. So 22, 25 or 26 or something. I can't remember. So I started my career at that point as a junior developer. So I didn't like start in some other area and then transition to being a chief technology officer. I started as a junior developer and worked my way through the ranks, as it were. So I've gotten the full exposure of working in SaaS-based web application development. I've never done pure app development, except for games. I've always been in the web space and web app type stuff. And full stack development. I did full stack before it was called full stack development. And that's why when they started calling it full stack, I'm like, yeah, you should have people who do front end and back end. Because I never saw a benefit to having pure front end developers versus people who can kind of do both. I'm sure there's some some people who just do pure JavaScript is fine, but now you can use JavaScript on the back end, so you know. Okay, so what I wanted to look at this one right here, I think. On event change. So I think I need to like take a look at what the last event was to. If that does not equal null, then we set it to null. I don't remember why I did last game event. Why did I do that? Oh, because we'd have to update the previous one, right? Oh, I think I should call it differently, actually. Last. So current map object, last map object. Should I have serialized that? Remember. Is it here? I don't remember where I did this before. So event trigger advanced node. It wasn't called game event? That's the last. You okay, Composer? Oh, last map event override. This would refer to the event itself that is overriding, right? So the reason I did this was if I changed the node, I had to unset it from the last one it was using. Okay. And I did serialize that. Okay. Wonder if this is important now. This is the event, like the Smile Game Builder event I'm overriding. The question is it important if I want to change? Yes, it is. Yes. Because this is going to represent the current one. I actually don't know if that matters, though. It might not matter. Okay, let me think here. So the current game map object, this is the current thing that is loaded. I don't actually need this. I don't even know why I have that being used. Oh, I know I have. Never mind. I do need it. I don't need to serialize it. I don't think I need this, though. So what happens is when I go into change, if I go in here and I change this object here, I want to clear out the node that it's pointing to, so that it doesn't know what it should be pointing to. It's kind of like resetting the value essentially. So what I would need to do is I need to have these objects retain more than one trigger. Okay. So this is back when I first thought about this idea. So we have this thing called a map. So it's game map object data. This is the equivalent of what Smile Game Builder has as map object. It's the static objects that live on the map. This is just a data set, and I have it in my little game editor here. These are map objects. So we have bush, for instance, and you can see here the trigger node is the one I was just looking at previously. And we have the graph that is pointed to, so I know where it goes. These aren't really meant to be edited in the editor, so I'll probably make them read-only. But the point is, I have to track this. The problem is, now we can have multiple triggers. I'm going to need to have a list of triggers and nodes that they're associated with, which kind of sucks because I don't think might be able to serialize the dictionary because I'm using Odin Inspector. I think I can do it. Let me see. Odin Inspector serialize realize dictionary. Serializing dictionaries. Yeah, so I can use their serialized. It's funny when you use their serialized scriptable objects, like, this is dangerous, don't use it. I haven't had too many problems with it. Maybe that's why my compiles are slow, but it's also Unity. So I could make a serialized dictionary. It should work. We're going to have more than one trigger. So we're going to have a trigger type and a node, I believe. I think that's what I need to do. So let's find out. So we're gonna make a private particle velocity system inherent in velocity mode. Okay, that's not what I wanted. Private dictionary, and it'll be. I think you can serialize enums, right? Maybe. Why is it not? Script, yes. Dot trigger, yes. Dot. Oh, it's just, yeah, that's all it is. And it's going to be a map object event node. Okay. that will work. Okay. So that's what we're going to want instead of this other one. Now, I believe this will work. But only one way to test it. So theoretically, read only. We don't want people changing it. And in fact, we don't want people to change this one either. So theoretically, I should be able to add multiple nodes to this based upon the trigger. I won't need this one yet, but I'll leave it there because I know there's some code I'm using that's related to it. So we'll have trigger nodes. It's private. We'll need a public version of this. But we're only going to get the dictionary. We're not going to set it. Okay. But that should cover our needs. So in here, what we will do... where are we here? I just don't think I need this. I think what I need is current map game object. If that exists, so if the current map game object exists. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second. So we used last. Oh, right. Okay. I know why I had to use last. Okay. Because when I change the value, I no longer have a reference to the one that it just was. It literally just changes to this one. So I could use the last object event ID instead of storing the object itself, which is probably smarter because then I don't have to serialize that whole reference to the object. So we'll have a last map object event ID. We'll serialize it. And then when we do this change, we'll swap it over. So if this is not null or empty, last object event, oops, easy. Then we'll say okay. So that should work. And so this is going to be, we're going to get the last game object actually. So game map object data. We parse it. That's good. All right. We're good to go. I could check to make sure it's not null, I guess, just in case. But just in case something wonky happens, I guess. And then now we would set, instead of saying set the trigger node to null, we'd want to set it null only if we're getting it from the list. And then we'll only set it dirty if we found it. Okay. So what we're going to do now, meow, is... I don't want to do, like, multiple checks. Can I just remove something from a dictionary in case it exists? So I could do, like, last map object. Super Tugger, meow meow. Meow meow. What's going on right meow, Tuber? Last map object dot trigger nodes dot remove I can't because I'd have to know like what the trigger was, right? Meow, just hanging. Oh, good. Well, I've been at this for meowers already. Oh wait, no, only one meower. You got me going. Nice to have you here. Thanks for the first time chat. I guess I'd have to retain the last trigger as well. It's so annoying. I don't like to have to do that stuff, but I suppose it's necessary, so we'll do it. We'll go to the trigger. Yep. Apparently this has become a very cat-friendly stream. For real, am I right? Don't whisker me away from my code. Private. Last trigger. Serialize. Okay. So now we should be able to do... Well, the trigger's not changing for the update event. I don't think. I don't think the trigger is changing because it wouldn't change when we're updating this event. So I can actually just remove the current trigger because the assumption is we're changing the node, but we don't want the trigger to be retained. Okay. Correct. Got it. Good job, Motzi. Way to go. You know what you're doing, maybe. What's the trick to serializing dictionaries in Unity? Use Odin Inspector. I use even though it gives you like every warning in the book, you try to use a serialized scriptable object. It's like, be warned, danger, Will Robinson, and I just use it. You could, in order to serialize dictionary, you need to serialize the keys and the values separately. That's all. You just keep a list of the keys and values, and then you can reconstitute them into a dictionary when it gets unserialized. Good luck, because all I can say is someone who couldn't use a terminal. I have to go back to Linux for an LLM I'm looking to fork. Well, that sounds forking amazing. That's really bright, by the way. It's like, my eyes. Yeah, I mean, if I was going to serialize and unserialize a dictionary properly, you would want to make your object handle that ability. So that when it goes to serialize, it'll split the dictionary into keys and values, and when it unserializes, it'll shove them back into a dictionary. Which I'm sure that's what the serialized scriptable object is doing, right? So I think this will work even if it doesn't find the trigger. So if it exists, it'll remove it. And then we're going to say last object event ID equals this dot current game map object ID. That'll be the current. Okay. If sheets equals 0, we add a sheet. Editor set dirty, save asset, update ports. Okay. So this should be okay. This will allow me to change the event and update the trigger. Now we got to go down to this nonsense down here. This one should be slightly easier because I don't have to get rid of the object. I just have to change the trigger. So if the trigger is changed, then I need to remove the last trigger that was being used. So we're going to say current game map object trigger nodes dot remove last trigger, and then we're going to say add this trigger plus this. So that'll be the reference. Do I need? So wait a minute. Do I even need that? Yes, I do. Because there'll be one node per trigger. So there'll be multiple ones. Alterium Shift is a retro-inspired JRPG with 3 branching timelines, 3 main characters that you can experience a world of shiftiness. It is kind of inspired off of games like Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy. The storyline is very classic retro, save the world, save the universe type of stuff. This is the actual game on Steam. This just says here, right? It's choice driven in terms of branching narratives that give you some flavor without changing your game, essentially. The Tencent, or not much, the Tencent Hanyuan DIT thing should be able to run locally. Okay, you're talking about AI. Anyway, that's the gist of it. It's 2.5D in terms of the visual style. So it's not even though it has pixels, it's not a pixel, like flat pixel game. It's more akin to Octopath Traveler and similar ones. There is a demo. By all means, try it out. A couple caveats. I have to tell you all this consumers of games are so interesting to me. Some people will go in immediately and mess with settings. Oh, why is my settings not working? Uh-oh, what happened here? Oh, I paused it somehow. Some people will go right in here. Thanks for the follow, Tuber Tugger. And they'll say, oh, look, enhanced battle system. Now, it says on, this is because I must have turned it on at some point. But it's off by default. I literally set up a brand new Steam account and bought the game to confirm that when you buy the game or get the demo, that system is turned on. I quadruple checked it the last time I did a build. Someone goes in here and turns it on. Well, there's a bug in this system. Every second battle, you're left with a black screen. And the number of times I've gotten people complain about this is like, man, I really need to like put a triple speed bump on this. So like, are you really sure you want to enable this feature? Because, we got a negative review because someone did this, played the game, got the thing, and they're like, well, the game sucks because every second battle it crashes. Like, yeah. You turned on a feature that's beta. Buggy. Use at your own risk. Apparently that does not compute. So don't turn that on. Of course, now you're gonna be like, let me go turn it on. Hey, why is this thing crashing? You got other features though that work, like cloud saves. Cloud saves work. I think that's still in the beta menu on the current build. There's even CRT effect you can turn on and off. Some people like, some people don't. Yeah, I wouldn't either. Or if I turned it on and things started crashing, I'm like, what did I do? But it's just funny to me how that happens. Like, as a consumer of product, I like the option. Yeah, thank you, Tuber. I appreciate that. I like the prospect of having those options because even in the web development world that I work in, I think it's a valuable tool to give people the opportunity to turn on and off features, right? And it's good for us to know because if someone tries it and they say there's a problem. But not all consumers pay attention to what they do, and then they blame the software. You're like, ugh. Like I gotta put this beta feature in there, but also like protect it or make sure there's like no major bugs. Maybe I should make an alpha menu. And when you turn it on, across the top of the screen, there's like a scrolling marquee that says you're using alpha version. Dude, I almost spit out my drink. Thank you for saying that right when I was drinking. And it's a sticky drink too, so it would have gone all over my technology. I had to have a moment of self-control. I literally almost spit my drink out. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. I like had to stuff it down and it's coming back up like it's like it's not a bug, it's a feature. Spit stream? No. Hey, what? No, the opposite. What if it didn't crash every second battle? They'd be like, hey, mine's not crashing every second. I'm turning red. I'm sorry. That's just a good. It just you got me in a weird way. Like I just wasn't expecting that comment. Oh man, if we want that feature, we should absolutely put more of those in there. I got plenty of things like that I can turn on. That'd be kind of a funny prank thing to pull, where you have a beta menu that says these, like literally say make this bug happen, and you just literally code a bug in the system. Quirk mode. What's the quirk? Well, it's guaranteed to crash. Here you go. Have fun. Oof. Oof. Oh man. A little warm in here. It's getting hot in her. Oh man, that's a good one. Nice to meet you, Tuber. I feel like I've seen you before though. Where have I seen you before? Are you a streamer? Do you stream? Am I muted? I'm muted. Okay. You stream. My name's Derek. I'm a programmer and I love all things nerdy. I'm a Canadian dad trying to be cool. Well, aren't all of us dads trying to be cool? I'm going to follow you even if you don't stream. You got chat commands. TBD. TBD, does that mean no more streaming? Captain Coder. Captain Coder. He's our hero. Gonna take that coding down to 0. No, gonna take those bugs down to 0. Yeah, Captain Coder rated me the other day. Very nice person. And it's a very intriguing approach that he follows. I guess I could have stopped streaming at some point, but the whole reason I started working on game dev, like the whole reason I started streaming was to work on game dev. And to me, I have to maintain habits to continue to be effective. Even though you can tell I'm quite distracted, it's still useful. The ritual and habit provides value. And I find that when I've had to skip streams, or I felt like, I tend to not skip my streams, but when I do, I feel like I have a degrading quality of my ability to get stuff done. So even though I have nights where I'm not as productive, it's still more effective than when I don't. Yeah, it's ADHD thing or ADD thing in my case. And have my little fan because I'm getting warm in here after all that laughing. These are powers magnified. Oh my gosh, Stoff's our powers. Stoff, what you doing? I agree, especially if you feel responsibility of your viewers harder. Yes. The viewers become the boss, essentially, that you're reporting to, right? It just created a consistent desire that even when I wasn't streaming, I wanted to have something to show for it. How was your stream, Stoff? I presume you're playing a game? I presume you're going to get food right now. What you're going to do. Okay. So what I need to do here is we only want to use... Okay, how am I going to do this? It's the same map object, so that won't be a problem. Yes. Okay. So what we have to do is filter out all the ones that currently exist, right? Now we're going to say types. Hold on. Existing. Nope, I don't want that. I don't want that at all. I want current. First off, only if current map object exists. Although I guess I should make the trigger available if the current map object doesn't exist. So maybe I'll just hide it if it doesn't exist. Demo with crash option turned off. Okay. Go for it. Too distractible by chats to be streaming. Won't get nothing done. I know. I mean, hey, Sky. How are you? Sky, do you have any links for your game that you've been working on for years and years? You should share it if you so desire. What I was going to say about chatting... I was going to say words. Words were going to happen. For sure. Hide if... String dot... I haven't worked on it recently. Oh, but you've been posting things. The link was probably a version that is years ago. Okay. Might get worse if I'd work hyper... Yeah, but that's why I had to, like... Okay, to be fair, when I started streaming, I wasn't working on this game. And I was just trying to, like, get into game development and learn it, right? Because by day, CTO, by night, developer, essentially. And, what's that? I'm like a superhero, my wife says, but she has to say that because she's married. But I never thought I would be productive. I wanted to be productive because I realized that in order to I thought that in order to attract people to watch your stream, you had to do something. You had to have outcomes, right? Was gaming and just taking it easy. Take it easy. I was a lot more hyper, incidentally, as a early streamer. I've gotten a little bit less hyper now. As you can tell, I'm much more chilled. What the frick was I doing? I was doing something. Oh, wait. I know what I was doing. I've just learned how to embrace the distraction. Doing this has really helped me for other things in life. Being able to just talk off the cuff. Oh my gosh. Just like interestingly, as a CTO, as a technologist who has to do a lot of talking in meetings and otherwise, or like on the fly talk about technology problems. Even though I had some of that ability before I started streaming really helped me learn how to pull my thoughts together in a consistent way overall. Yes, I get distracted, but it helped me be more consistent with my messaging, because as me doing this all the time on stream, I've had to be able to string together a stream of consciousness. And as you can tell, I'm 100% coherent with that. And there's not a single problem with my ability to string together words good. I don't want existing though. I don't want that at all. What I want to do is I want to get trigger nodes. I want to see, so if it exists, then I want to say types equals. There we go. And then I don't want two lists though. Crap. Because it's a value drop down, I have to do it differently. Do I have to... Yes, because these are value drop down lists. Okay. I'll just loop it. For each trigger, if it does equal trigger, so if that exists, I only need to remove one though, right? No, I don't. How do I do this? What I have to do is, for every one of the ones that exist, I have to remove it from the type list. Told you, my brain it's all getting kerfluffled. Not a one. Guess it doesn't force one to work on retaining and training work memory. It does. It doesn't. Certainly doesn't train somebody to learn how to read while they're trying to work on code. You know, the funniest part about streaming coders is that one of the most difficult things about development is when you get off your flow, getting back on is hard. And this is constant disruption. More so with complicated physics. Yeah, I can't do that. You know, I think I referred you guys to Wallaber. Wallaber can work on complex physics while streaming. He's cray-cray. I can't. I just can't. No. I can't remove this because it's a value drop down. So I gotta do like, I need to remove. I could do remove all maybe? Okay, that'll work. All right, let's see if this works. Because I have to make sure that the list doesn't show triggers that are already assigned. Hey, Burn, what's up? Just working on stuff, you know, as usual. Kind of. Working on being distracted, mostly. As usual, by the way. Some nights are better than others. You know, like I used to work in RPG in a Box a lot and doing voxel art. I love doing voxel art, by the way, because that I can talk and do the art. The two different brains. But coding, and talking, they're vying for the same attention. When I save the game, it saves to a slot below the one the cursor is pointing to. That's a slot of problems. Yeah, that's a bug I fixed. It just hasn't been deployed yet. Thanks for pointing it out, though. Yes, it's been fixed. It's just we intended to get the fixes out sooner, but I've said this a couple times that we have some things that are beyond our control right now we're dealing with. And unfortunately, I haven't gotten that fix out yet. But we are aware of that issue. And it does work now. Well, and in fact, like, not only did I fix that problem, but I've changed the whole save system. Because so the save system that is currently there is based on save slots, the numeric slots. And now I'm doing time-based slots that, theoretically could be infinite, right? There's a whole different way of managing that save system. I don't know why. I guess I played it to show it. After seeing the what Enshrouded did with Voxel, it's kind of become clear it's worth using. What did Enshroud do with Voxel? Yeah, it'll come out. We also have a new fishing system. I can understand. Did you ever get burnt out with voxel modeling? I loved doing the voxel modeling. The things that burnt me out is when I try to do something a little bit above my ability or type of modeling, something that was newer for me. So, here's Makerville in a box. This is where I used to do some of the modeling. All the models down there, right? I mean, there's like 80 or 90 models I made. I really enjoyed it overall. The thing that made it easier for me is when I learned to use low spec palettes to limit my palette options. So I look at all these things. I'm not saying all the things I made are great, but I still love doing it. I can understand that. Did you? It detailed Minecraft and building an action-based building game. Souls like Minecraft. Okay. Was that? But did they use RPG in a box? Because I know there was someone who did like hours of playing this, and they made like a 2D platforming one because there's a platforming template now for this thing. So I like doing voxel modeling, but when I got things that didn't fit right, I didn't always love it. Like I was still supposed to be doing a version of animation for this one. It's a pretty big one. I don't think I ever ran out. I mean, we used to do like voxel art challenges together where we'd spend 20 minutes and the community, we would just make something. We'd randomize some selection and then pick something and draw it. Okay. Yeah, I don't... I mean, there's lots of cool things people do with voxels. I mean, the whole... that voxel game that you can wreck everything. Teardown? What's it called? That was pretty cool. Okay. So let's check this out. So on primary ability, if I change this... Now, the reason this is doing that is because I have to add a sheet first. If I add a sheet, hopefully it'll be a good sheet. So now we don't have the selection there. Last trigger has to be hidden. I don't care about that yet. So we'll change this to something. So collide isn't available. Or on custom event trigger, which should not... I don't think I should do that yet. But... Oh, good. It's just slowly removing every single one. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to have happen. That's like perfect functionality. If I go over to... Great. If I go over to this thing... It has all the trigger nodes. Okay, so this is not working like I want it to yet. Destructible environments is pretty cool. That makes sense. I love it too because it's daunting working on large models. Yeah. Well, the thing I would say about the larger models is I feel like you have to treat it like actual art if you're going to do it that way. So if you're going to make something that's big, this is like the, I mean, this is a fairly large model, but even if you're going to make something even larger than that, like, I forget how you change the size of these things. Where's the option? It's somewhere around here. It's been a long time since I've used Magic of Voxel. Loop crop. I guess I could use this as an example. So like if you're gonna do a large model editing, then you need to make your tools larger, right? So if I'm gonna do attach tool, I'm not gonna use just a single voxel. I might even do something like do spheres. I want to be sphereless, and not just do blocks. So if we go to points, we'll change it to like 16 voxels, and then we just use these, right? So then you end up like doing things bigger first and then trimming it down if you're gonna make something. When you look at those like those Minecraft videos, that's kind of what they do actually. They basically create a skeleton and they put a bunch of circles around it, and then they go around and like trim it down. So that if you're gonna make like a face or something, instead of like trying to do it voxel by voxel, you build it up and then you cut into it essentially. So like once you get the shape roughly where you want it, then you kind of mold it. So then I would like reduce this down a bit, go to erase, whatever. I mean, I'm not really trying to make anything specific. I'm just describing it essentially. My kids are really into Minecraft right now, and they watch these videos as like noob to god, as like noob mode to god mode, and they start out with like the simple thing, and then they just progressively make something more and more advanced and complicated. Like the last one I saw, they were doing like Yoshi and all the various Mario characters, and that's where I was like, and I've done this before too, is essentially when you're on the small scale, you do it block by block, and you have to take away any sort of sense that you're going to get the detail that's in your mind. So it, in a way, is a lower barrier of entry because you're like, well, that's all I can work with. Can't make it any more detailed than that. And that means that it forces you to just make something and be done with it. Minecraft Builds is a YouTube thing. They use World Edit and other plugins and stuff. It can, Dickie. The problem is that I actually don't know what the problem is. I think it's just a whole different. You have to think in 3 dimensions, and so you can't just draw it exactly like you want. Like, I know I'm distracted now, but I'm okay with that. Huh? I'm distracted by chat asking me about voxels. No, you're not distracting me completely. There's not stuff where you can edit. Well, there's a plugin that makes Minecraft blocks like voxel. So here's an example, I'd say, Dickie. So I was trying to make a Atlas-like character in voxels. And one of the problems is when you're doing pixels, you can make a flat picture and you can sort of shade it to make it look 3D. But when you have actual 3D, when you try to add depth or, like if you want to make this pop out like it's actually 3D, it's really hard because it's flat. And so if I start adding voxels on here, it actually ends up looking dumber. The more I add to it, the worse it looks. And with the smaller scale voxels, it becomes even more difficult to make it look shaped. And that's where I struggled with voxels when it came to like me taking a pixel art character and trying to make it more shapely. I could do it if I scaled up, but then it's almost like you're doing play modeling as opposed to drawing voxels. Yeah, you could. Well, and you could do like spheres, and I'm sure there's a way that people would use to do it. A lot of things, like when I was showing you with the yes, okay, I don't care, I don't save anything. When I was looking at the magic of voxel, oh my gosh, what is that? Magic Johnson. Oh my gosh, that was stupid. Magic of voxel. I got scared because I tried to type magic of voxel and it gave me some web link from Magic Johnson. So when you're here, like there isn't a float in midair option. So if I wanted to float in midair, just like that Minecraft one, I'd have to draw the skeleton first. Like I'd have to create the skeleton for it to float. Or I do half portions. So if I go into here and do like attach single voxels, and I do a block like this, I could start with like half of the object that I want to make. Like I can just do, you know, whatever. I could start with this shape, and then there's a way to move. I remember there's a shortcut to do this. I don't remember what the shortcut was. Like there's a way I can move the entire model. This? I don't remember what. Maybe it's this. Okay, there it is. So I guess I have to like select or something. But then I could like move it out and do more work on other sides, right? I mean, like I could even do something like flip it, or I could draw on the back here and then they'll be connected when I do that. So like people who do voxel modeling have all their little tricks to make it work like they want. Is it not working? There. So like, okay, now I have an object that's connected to itself, right? There's a tool called Cubicle, which is too old to buy now. I mean, I would never buy it now, but they had a slice mode where you can do things by slices, which I really like. But Magic of Voxel doesn't technically have that. You could kind of do it by moving things up against the edge and messing with the slices, but that's, you know, not my ideal. Voxel-based character correction or item creation mechanisms for players in your game would be nice. In my game? I guess a way to put it to use is a voxel to define the shape. Hold on. I guess a way to put it is to use a voxel to define the shape. It worked like those dynamic pixel maps. Yeah. Yeah, Blender low poly modeling, right? 3D texture attachment actually determines what it looks like. Yeah, I mean, the other way that people do it is to take a 3D model and then voxelize the model. There are tools that do voxelization. Yeah, I wanted to do that too, Sky, by the way, letting people kind of create their models or their pieces. It's just that I like the act of creating voxels. So it's not, for me, it's not about just the look. I like to do the voxel work. And that's a little different. Like it's not just because I like the look of voxels. I actually like working on voxels. I think you've seen it before, but I sent a picture of one of those. Yeah, I see. Hold on. Just open in the browser. Yeah, so here's like one of your Doom-like characters, right? The problem in RPG in a box is they don't have a way to edit voxel models while you're playing the game. It's only part of the editor. Okay, so why did this not work? That's the question. It's funny that I can even change them here. I shouldn't be able to change this stuff. Whatever, I'll tell Jacob not to touch it. So the problem would be when we select the trigger types. What if I just say like do that so it like gets it again, maybe? Because what's happening is it's not getting the brand new trigger types. These are the types. What we need to do... Oh, actually, we need to remove... Let's see. Hi, composing. What's up? Love you. We want to remove the last tree. Oh, we're never setting the last. That's right. Okay. That's why. That's actually what's happening on this. Okay. That makes a lot more sense. So I think I can just remove all these, so they're not actually selected. You can remove tiles, but you can't mess with individual voxels. We took you for skinned mesh models, but I can see how it'd be coded for Unity static mesh. Sorry about the verbiage. Problem with talking about something I haven't worked with yet. I got to level 2. I'll try some more later. Definitely looks good. I'm excited to get a bigger party. In the demo, you don't get any more than one for now. At some point in the game, you join up with the rest of the party. So you get all 3 characters. And also, all 3 characters have a different experience and slightly different story arcs. This use case for a realistic looking game, not for a blocky. Yeah. You're talking about like the real serious voxels, the UE5 voxels, which is a whole different thing. You are welcome to buy the game. You're welcome to try the game. It is early access. So to be clear, it's not fully launched yet. And right now, so there have been some delays that were not planned and are somewhat not fully in our control that have made it so we're behind on our roadmap. By this point, we wanted to have the 75% mark of the game launch. Now it's looking like we're delayed by a month or so to get that 75% mark. So we're at 50% story content now. And then hopefully we'll be getting at least the beta version or like a test version out. We were considering doing like a bug hunt. So we're gonna like launch. We're gonna give anyone who wants to opt in, they can get this version that is the bug hunt version, and we might even do something like a cash reward for the most bug found or something. I'm not sure what works best. No, I think Dickie's actually talking about higher quality voxels, right? Because in UE5 they call them voxels, but they don't look like voxels. They look like just nice objects, But the way that UE5 does it, is it called nanites? I don't know. I don't use Unreal, so I don't know. All right, so we're gonna say our trigger is on interact. So that should be good. Let's go to our game editor and see. So we have the interact event. So that should mean the interact event does not show up in this list. And if I say on push, it should have removed the interact one. Damn it. Instead, it just continues to add it. Oh no, it's there. Well, that's good. But for some reason, it doesn't show up in the list again. So I got to figure that one out. It must not be refreshing the list. Which means I might have to figure out a different way to make this work. I don't know why it wouldn't though. Still looking at one key in our bush. Is custom? Wait, is that custom event? Is that what I added? Yeah. Why are you not updating, stupid thing? Weird. Okay. Maybe this object is not being updated appropriately. Remove all of them from there with a value. It's got to be that this is somehow getting the same. Let's see here. It's the same object though. Reference. the voxel engine. I'm not sure which one. I'm looking to do what Battlefield 1 did. Let me see. Does anyone know how voxel was? This when Enshrouded was like asking people about it? Are you talking about this thing right here? Yeah, that stuff is just gorgeous. It's a whole different ball game of voxels. Yeah, that's not, you know, I'm all into the low quality voxels. So why? Tell me why. Something is goofy here, but I'm not sure what. Script trigger type. So this shouldn't change. For the moment, I'm even going to remove the custom event trigger for now. So that shouldn't change. But it feels like what's happening is it's still getting all of them for some reason. Remove all of them where the value matches the trigger. I don't understand how that would happen though, because this is referring to an object that is passed by reference. So why would it be? Let's see. Let's see what happens here. I mean, it shouldn't spam it. It should only happen when I click on the trigger list. This is one of those nights where I might have gotten a little bit on the distraction train, and I'm okay with that. We can be distracted. Being distracted is acceptable. As a streamer, you are allowed to be distracted. I give you permission. If you're all the streamers out there, you can be distracted too. Don't you worry. Speaking of streamers, hey Nightfall, how are ya? Okay, so right now there's one. Then I'm going to choose interact. There's still only one. So for some reason, it's like removing it, but it never changes. So why? Oh, I know why. Because it's referring to this. Okay. So I need to make a copy of this. Can I pass a list into a list? I wonder if I could do it like this, where instead of returning a value drop-down list, I could return a list. Oh no, a dictionary? No, I feel okay. Can I just clone it? I can't mess with the original list. I'm removing it from the original list. So I guess I need to make a new list. That's what I'll do. All right. So instead what I'm going to do is say result equals new value drop down list. And then I'll go here. And just pass it back. Okay. Oh my gosh, please don't do that. Hey, Wallaber, I was talking about you earlier. I heard distractions. Is there voxel-based fluid and enshrouded as well? That would be cool. Have you guys heard of Voxatron? Not that I know of. There's no water in the game for sure. Hey, Wallaber. Wallaber is a guy who can stream and talk to chat and work on physics. Because Wallaber is a genius. Except for the fact that he likes ternary operators. But I still, I still like him. I still think he's kind of cool. Mostly. So what I need to do then is for each result, the trigger has to be trigger happy every day. For doing this, we're gonna have to do it this way. So we get each object back, right? So then we'll say trigger.key, trigger.value. But only if, so for every one of these, no. We're going to do it the opposite way. So we're going to say for each in types. This is dumb. This is so dumb. I don't know why I just, It's not trigger.key, it's trigger.text, I guess. Maybe that'll work. I don't know. Find out. Seems like it'll work. Maybe. I should have done the refactor. Alright, let's go run that. Wallaber is a mad scientist. He's happy too most of the time. Hey Dave, how's it going? Return likes ternary, Wallaber Matsu. Bet you could write that differently. Maybe with an if statement. Game once the story is done is going to be Tomb Raider, Tenchu, Souls-like sandbox. Only speaking of gaming mechanics. Got it. This is your game. The one that you've been toying around with, right? Alright, so we go interact, collide, interact. Okay, so now it works. Dummy. Alright, dummy is in me dummy, not anyone else here except Wallaber. Anyway, I didn't say anything. So. I was singing Wallaber's praises on his stream randomly because I get these random bursts of gush necessary. Like, I just have to gush. I have to say, Wallaber, you're amazing. And that was for no reason, just because he is. Like 30 years now, we'll get it done at some point. Well, there's always time. What I like about Alterium Shift is we didn't set out for it to be the game of all ages or anything. We just basically, Jacob made a visual style that I was like, that's amazing. That's like exactly the style that connected with me. And then he kind of reeled me in and suckered me into working with him. And then I kind of took over all the technology stuff. He did all the pretty. I don't want hide trigger. Why is that? That shouldn't be showing either. Why is it not? Oh, because it's part of the sheet data. That one should definitely be hidden from view. Oliver was the one that told me about Odin Inspector. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And I'm using it so much. And he's like, yeah, I don't really use it very much. I was like, oh. I mean, he doesn't use it as much as I have. Like, I've really bastardized it. I've used, like, so much with Odin Inspector. It is somewhat inefficient, though. It does a lot of things that make repeated use of it, like with all these nodes, really slow. I was kind of afraid when I saw Slitherhead. That game was very close to what I'm doing. Haven't even heard of it. Slitherhead? Still blows my mind that Uni has incorporated Odin stuff in the engine properly. I mean, it's possible that they've tried, but maybe the people who own Odin don't want that. It's just a matter of time. No, because Unity wants to do their UI toolkit. I mean, I'm still blown away that Unity doesn't have like spell check for their text field. They're not using the text fields of the OS, so you can't do basic spell checking. Well, I mean, Odin is a subscription feature by its definition. So we're going to try... So we had a whacking thing, but let's do a talking thing. Hi. I am a bush. We're going to try and make this work now. I know it doesn't look like I've been doing a lot, but I've been doing some stuff. So I need to change the way our triggering system works. Meow. Which is in our map event engine. So we have here in our event engine our trigger map objects that will trigger a direction and a specific script trigger. So this is the thing that handles all. It doesn't matter what the trigger is; it'll take any of them. But what we have to do, instead of saying dot trigger, oh wait, can we do that? I might have. Was I too smart for my own good? Let me see. Probably not. We have map game objects, current bounds. Bounds contains game map object data. Map. I'm surprised y'all let me get away with this last time. Map character. I can spell. So then we load the game object. Then we go through the runner list and we trigger it. Okay. So we've got a little bit of a situation here we got to figure out. I think we need a map character per trigger. So when I say load map game object, this is something that I created. I need to give a trigger here that represents the trigger that's going to load. Or I could just make every single character. I think I need the trigger though. So it's only going to be the trigger that we're going to use. Wonderful thing about triggers. Triggers a wonderful thing. Did I use trigger anywhere in here? I did use dot trigger. So meow, we have to say if this has, if the trigger even exists. So if it doesn't exist in here, trigger nodes dot contains key trigger. So this is the thing that will trigger on the event, but only if it exists. I mean, it is a subscription fee. Oh, it's a one-time purchase? Yes. UE5 has no docs for complex multiplayer simulation, so I assume that's not supported. I don't know. I've never tried UE5 much. Oh, share and share alike. Shove it all up in our business. Do as you will. I'm okay with that. I like people sharing their stuff. Okay. So we're going to assume that the trigger has to exist. If the trigger exists, then we're going to create the object. The trigger is going to become thing. Sheet list for each sheet. It has to be this. So if it exists, it has to be the trigger. Every sheet is going to end up with the same trigger. This is not negotiable. Graphic script, get it as script trigger equals script trigger none. Let me just make sure I've got this right. Trigger node. I have to get the trigger node. Hold on a second. So it'll be var trigger node equals map game object map object data. Did we already prove that it exists? Because we already checked for contains key. What is it telling me here? Try get value. I guess I get the value, right? That's fine. That's a better idea. Oh, did it refactor the code I just wrote? Oh man, that was cool. It saw me do it down here. It's like, hey dummy, just use this. We can actually do this now. Trigger node. Are you sharing game around, like sharing it, the link on here, Dickie? Okay, so we have trigger node. That's the start node. That's the sheet. Good sheet. Script. Trigger. Sheet data. That trigger. That's fine because our data set up right. Perfect. I don't have to change any more shit there. Good. And then current event. Dot sheet list for each sheet. Sheet graphic equals empty. We are going to get the script if the script does not equal null. And trigger equals talk. I don't think I want this code. I want to remove. I don't think I want this at all. I do want to make the, actually I want to make the graphic empty just in case. I don't know why it wouldn't be empty, but I don't think I need this thing. Okay. Okay, so this should work. That should be okay. Okay. We go back to this thing. So now we created the object, we pass in the trigger. Which is the thing that's happening, whether it's interact or not. No, in places where marketers are, and places where I know there's people. In places where market. Why did you say hope you don't mind though? Oh, you mean Alterium shift? I was like, are you sharing a game you're where? I was like, where's your link? I thought you were sharing your game around. Share it. Give me information. You mean you're sharing Alterium shift around? I don't care. Share if you want to share Alterium shift, do that. See, my brain is trying to write code and think about words. I'm trying to parse code language and real language, and that's not computing very well in that noggin. Okay. Did the map character is not equal null? And then we run it. Okay. So community building push because people have a lot of hot takes having failed to talk to marketers of games or even listen to them. We've learned a lot about marketing. We haven't done as much as we could or should, but we've learned a lot. My gosh. Okay. So now we got to do this. Map game objects, bounds. So this is just checking whether the object exists. What I have to do now, if we find an object, we find a map character. Right now, this is creating it every time. So I think that map game objects will need to be retained. Like this character right here would need to be reusable per map. I need to, in this engine, I think I need to retain those characters. I think did I do something up here? Maybe I didn't. No, I hadn't done it yet. So we're going to retain this up here. We're going to do private dictionary, maybe. And there's going to have to be the map game objects GUID. So we'll do a GUID and a map game object. No, we're going to do a GUID and a map character. Map. Map object character. This is the thing that's going to store the ones that have already loaded. I didn't do that last time because I was just trying to get it to work. I got a little confused for a second, like, why am I doing it this way? Some of it's also in hopes that they actually bother to do people networking when they need to. Kind of like the music world in the sense where everyone gets bigger as everyone else gets bigger. There has to be a healthy scene for it. Yeah. Well, I've talked to some developers recently. It's funny in the indie dev scene, there is a little bit of that zero-sum game. Not totally. Like, there's a lot of people that just are really friendly and they share alike, right? But we don't really hold a lot of cards close to our chest. We're willing to share and work with people and share their games. Like, we all do better when we all do better, so to speak, right? The positive sum game, just like in YouTube. So we try to share as much as we can of other people's stuff, especially if they pop in here. Like, oh yeah, by the way, I share about Wallaber all the time. He even has a special command. He got a Wallaber command. Probably talk about him too much, actually. Okay, so one problem is every single trigger could have a different map character. So how am I going to do this? I need an association of the map object and the trigger and the character. Okay, I think. Or I need just a list of characters that could trigger. So there's going to be a dictionary with a dictionary. I'm sure that's totally legit, right? There's nothing wrong with that data type. I could do a tuple. Are tuples better than putting a full dictionary here? I don't even know. I know tuple causes allocations, but it's not going to be a lot of allocations, I don't think. So I think it'll be okay. The tuple is going to be the trigger. I could make a struct for it. That would reduce allocations, and it's pretty simple. And since I'm here, I might as well, right? Fine, Wallaber, I'll make a struct. I know that's what you would tell me to do. Wallaber would force me to do a struct. He'd be like, Motzi, just struct it up, yo. Why you gotta be so destructive? Wow, look at that command. Everyone else is normal game dev. Wallaber, game scientist. No one can match up to Wallaber. That thinking aloud is useful. Yeah, it is interesting. Like, my streaming talking is what I would do in my head while I'm working on my own. So I sort of just verbalize what I would be going on in my head. With the slight variations, I'm aware people are actually listening to that. So I do edit a few things out. Because it gets real up in this brain of mine. Just be fully transparent. So we'll have a map object character trigger. That'll be a struct, so it won't create allocations. It's a big mouthful to say, but who cares? So now I have to get the object. Okay. I'll just do it here. Private map character get map. And so we'll give it the trigger and what else would we get it? Hold on a second. We have to give it the game object, so it'll be map game object. Wait, isn't it called map game object? What do I call it? It's called words. Word up. It's word girl. Map game object. Where do we use this? Yeah, it's called map game object. Why is it not? Why do I have to import it? I'm already using it. I didn't delete it, did I? How much red can we get on here? Why is script trigger not? What the flip, man? What am I working on? I'm in the event engine. What the flip? All these things existed. Why are you saying they don't exist now? Something weird has happened in my life, but I'm not sure what is going on here. Oh, no, that's a different method. I'm really confused right now. We're in UCAR engine. Oh, this stupid thing. Hold on a second. I'm afraid to rebuild the thing without debugging on. Oh, all this talking's happening. Oh, wow. Okay, I missed a lot of chat. Can't help jumping into those thinking about process of dev. Streaming is like a non-stop rubber duck. Yeah, it quacks me up. You had to lower the size because of that. It's been buggy on here for the last month or so. Buggy on my... On where? On the stream? Serious question. At which point in development are you going to change to Godot? Never. Would hope that engine was picked for the game's design requirements and not switched. I don't think it'll be anytime soon. So why would it do this to me? We have this event, this here. Private. Map character. Maybe I treat it like it was a constructor. Is that what, maybe that's what happened? Let's see. No, I had it returning. I don't understand why it's failing though. Turn result. Twitch in general bugs out every time an ad loads. Oh, sorry. But wait, are you still getting ads? It should only be pre-roll once. Today I'm getting error 1000. Oh my god. That's serious. Map game object. I don't understand what happened there because it's now getting the data back properly. Although it's weird that it's doing their stupid garbage here. Okay, whatever. I don't need your garbage. Get your garbage out of my face. Thank you for returning things I didn't want. Appreciate it. I just wanted my code. You know what, Copilot? You're dead to me now. Go die a horrible death. Anyway. Hey, I made it. So I removed some code. Now I got to re-add it. So we're going to say result equals sgb override manager dot instance dot load map game object. Okay. So then we have to pass in the trigger, and this is only if it doesn't exist. So we're going to go to the thingies, and we'll do the thingy things and all that. Okay. So let's see if we can do this right. We're going to say if this dot map object characters dot try get value, the trick that Wallaber taught me. And then we're going to use the map game object dot map object data dot ID, and then we'll put the map object character trigger. And so only if it exists will it do this stuff. Else, we're going to create one. We're not going to do that. We'll say var result. Actually, we're going to say result. We're going to say... I'm jumping all over the place here. There we go. I mean, these both give a result value, so it's not actually going to make a difference if I put null here. This will be like initialized at some point. All right. So then if it exists, then we try again. Here we go. I'm going to eliminate an else statement, but I'll add another if statement. That's better, right? It's good to eliminate else statements and then add if statements. I think that's the rule. Oh my gosh. For every else statement you remove, you must add another if statement. Okay. So, yeah, I don't care about you. Okay, so then we go, don't you forget it. I tried to do that. The meow, we say, if the trigger, so the problem is I did this wrong. So this has to be a list. No. Yes. It has to be a list. Because what I'm saying is for every GUID of a map of a map object data, I want to see what triggers are available. Okay. That's fine. Okay. So if this is in existence, then we're going to loop through each one of them. And this time, instead of doing a for each, you know what? We're going to make this a hash set. Because you're not supposed to be able to have two triggers of the same type. So that's sort of valid in my data structure. Hash sets, you can for each, and you don't lose efficiency on them. So that's why I'm doing that. This is actually going to get renamed to triggers, I think. So, trigger. Go, and we say if. Boom. Then result equals. Then break out of this garbage here. If my mouse would work. Break. And then delete all that garbage. Okay. I think we made it through the mess. So now I have one method that will get it all. So what this does is we pass in this map game object. This is my object. And we pass in the trigger, whatever, like talk, interact, whatever it is, right? And then we try to see if we can get it within these character objects. So first off, we have to find out if this even exists, right? And then we loop over each one If we find a matching trigger, we return the character associated with it. Now, if we have to do this nonsense, then we still need to get this list somehow. So this actually is interesting to me. I think I want to... How do I want to do this? Well, the assumption is if a key exists already, we don't have to add one. So we're going to say if not contains key, right? So if it doesn't contain the key, then we're going to add the this new hash set. That'll be the thing that represents the data. But we also have to add the thing to it. I would prefer to do it a little bit differently than they're suggesting here. So what I would do here instead is... Why is it better to do it that way? I want to say new. I could just try... Oh, I don't want to try get value twice. I don't like doing things twice. So what we'll do is this. We're not going to do that thing. We're going to do this. So we'll give it a new hash set. We don't even need to do new hash set. Oh, no, we do. So we do this. So what should happen is when this, I think what happens is when this gets called, if it doesn't find the out value, then it defaults to whatever this is, which is just a blank hash set. Good. Then we get down here, meow. If it doesn't exist, we'll add it, which will just be whatever the map object character triggers are. And then otherwise, it doesn't really matter. Then at this point, we can just add it, right? So that should be good, I think. Meow. I don't think I should check it for null, right? Does this return a null if this is set? I don't know how that works. I suppose if it's null, I can just set it just in case. This is the only case where it would matter. So I guess for sanity, I could do that. That's the only type of operator that's sort of ternary like I would accept. Because it's not even a binary operator. It's binary in the effect that's saying only if it's null, right? It's not this or that. It's literally like null, set it. It's not a ternary operator, it's a binary operator. Okay, so there we go. So that will set it. We're good there. Now we're going to steal this nonsense. Go back here. It's been a journey. And then don't stop believing, though. We'll get there. Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. Okay. I think we made it. So the smartest thing to do would be to continue to test the existing functionality. And since I'm smart-ish, I'll use the primary ability as the way to test, and I'll reload. Okay. So if this works, we should be able to hit the bush, and it'll say, "Hi, I'm a bush." And that's exactly what you want to hear when you you whack your bush with a stick. Incidentally, this is my compile time. I hear Godot is much faster. This is because it's not, used enough. What do you call Minecraft celebration? A block party. Oh. What do you call a typo on a headstone? A grave mistake. What do you call two typos on a headstone? A double header. I hope you guys aren't taking my headstone jokes for granted. Sorry. All right, let's go whack a bush. Boop. Hi, I'm a bush. Okay, so that worked. So we weren't really expecting anything different, but now, meow, I should be able to do something even more interesting. I should be able to do talk triggers now. So when I say like check and run collision script, no, talk, not collision. Talk. You know what? The greatest thing about telling jokes in a cemetery, really easy to knock them dead. I was once kidnapped by mimes. They did unspeakable things. No, not the mimes. Never the mimes. So this is their talkable thing. It means that the action was triggered. I don't think that's all. That's it. I just don't think that's all. I believe I should be able to just try to trigger this. I don't think it matters whether their thing is talkable or not. Now the thing is, how do they do this? They tell it to run, but what happens is there's like overlapping events. They don't have anything that seems to prevent that. They get the talkable runner here, and for each one they run it, and that's it. So I theoretically should be able to do trigger map object action, and then where's their talk? I would do interact, right? So I would just call it, I think. Use script. There you go. So meow, while it might not seem like I'm changing much, I'm going to go in here and change this to interact. So I shouldn't be able to hit it with my stick. I should have to talk to it to make it work. Theoretically. What happens in Mario Kart? If you crash, you get towed. There's some other commands too that are not part of that list. Like this one, that might break my little avatar thing. But that's the yeets of our problem. Tried making this work better yesterday. Oh, that's a good avatar. What's that one? What the heck is that avatar? There's like this pink avatar. Wait, that's not that. Here. What is that? What is that avatar? There must be. Oh, weird. Is there someone sitting on top of it? I'm confused. It just looks strange for some reason. Like it didn't have a face or something. Oh, it's sideways. That's what it was. There's no mom joke. Sorry. Mom jokes are not allowed in this channel. Only dad jokes. My wife is good at puns, but she does not like puns or jokes. So we get into these pun offs where we pick I just start making puns and then it's like she's competitive. So she doesn't like puns, but because she's competitive, she'll try and pun off with me. And she's really good at it, actually. It's just unfortunate. Because she'll just keep going. Okay, that didn't work. But talking works! Oh, I'm so excited! Oh, I'm so excited by this. Okay, so watch. Watch this. I'm going to add another map object event. So this is not the way Smile Game Builder works. It does not inherently allow the ability to have the concept of like one single object being able to have multiple interactions. You gotta like layer a bunch of different events and make them trigger differently. So now I should be able to go in and get my bush together. Oh, why are you doing this to me? Give me a second. I'll figure this out. So I should be able to go in and get my bush. So now we have 2 bushes. Unfortunately, it's weirdly... It shouldn't have allowed this to happen. So I'm going to do primary ability. I'll have to figure that one out. And then I'm going to say, don't whack me. Like, don't tread on me. Hey! Don't. Is it whack? Or is it... I think it's whack. Don't whack me! The way it is, like, so here's a advanced event. It's like this. So I'll show it to you the small game builder version. It might make more sense. So that is an event. That green box is an event. An event can have many different sheets, which are these tabs. And the active sheet is the one whose event gets run. So this can be multiple triggers when the hero talks or interacts or something, right? But only one sheet is active at any given time. So if you want a different trigger, if you want a different interactable trigger, for instance, or collision or something, you'd have to have something that changes the sheet before the trigger happens. So you can't have it be collidable and interactable. You'd have to do 2 different events, or you'd have to have some condition that when the player's near, it changes the event trigger. Right, 1 trigger event at a time. And I'm kind of like, I'm cheating because I'm basically doing what I'm talking about. Like, I'm just layering, but I can refer to the same event, the same object, and the object gets targeted for these events. I don't know why this weirdness is happening where it's like putting out the interact word, but... So let's go see if this works. I should be able to whack it and talk to it. Can I whack it? Bop it. Hey, don't whack me. Hi, I'm a bush. A happy dance. Assuming that means the event has to end before another one can be triggered. Theoretically, yeah. I haven't actually tried. So I think like if I start to whack and I hit interact, it will do like go like that. Oh, it did work. Weird. How did I... Interesting. I don't even know how that works. It must be the way their scripting system works. Like, I think the way the script system works, if you try to make an action happen during another action, it won't allow it. So it sort of automatically blocks. So this should mean I should be able to do like all the other events. So I can do collision, check and run collision script, which should... I'm not sure how collision has to be... I'll have to figure out how collisions work, because that's going to be a different ball game, I think. But now I have a way. I have a way to do it. I've confirmed the 2 main pieces of functionality. So we have interact, primary, and then push isn't something I'm going to do now. I'll leave it there for now. And then on collide. So any of those abilities could work. The only other problem I've noticed was that it's supposed to use the event that is existing. But I don't think the event is positioned properly when the action happens. I think when the action happens, if it finds an event to trigger, it needs to move it to the appropriate place. So what I would need to do is in my trigger map object event, or map object action. What happens when a Mexican farmer gets mad at a missing crop? He guacamole. Guacamole. actually can't figure that one out. Can I halt events? I can make things. I can force an event to like a sequence of scripts to stop in the middle by switching the sheet. Or I could do something that like switches to a different script based upon like something that's happening. There isn't like a direct interrupt. Well, there is a way to stop scripts, but I don't know exactly how it happens because it's within their system. Because when you're switching between maps, it'll stop running events. So there is something like the way that their scripting engine works is kind of neat. Like I want to make a unified version of this. It runs each command in the update. So every loop, all of the next commands will run. So it has the ability like to stop right after the last one that was run. Right? It goes through this loop during running. So yeah, it can be stopped. I'm just not sure if there's something I can do to directly stop all scripts or specific scripts. I'm sure there's a way to do it. But, like I can lock control, which will stop it from executing. Where was I? I was at 10:44. Shoot, got it. I don't get to sleep in as much tomorrow because of my wife's event, which is totally fine. I support her, but I need to be responsible with my sleeping schedule. My voice has gotten really like. I don't know if it's me getting old, but I've noticed that my voice does not last long. I get really, I was gonna say harsh. What's the word? It's when your voice gets kind of rough. That word. Xbox tomorrow. Not sure how long it's going on. The whole Xbox, like every Xbox, is tomorrow. All of the Xboxes. So when we find the character, we need to set the position of the character to be the offset position. Because that's the trigger spot. I don't have one that actually checks the current position, so I have to work about that too. But for the moment, I need to set the position to the offset position. For now, that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to say map character dot set position. Okay, I think. Oh, are these? What are these values? They're floats. We got to confirm. I got to convert these to float values. Yeah. No, wait. Why wouldn't they do that? Oh, what is this? It is a float value. What's your problem? Oh, I see. Then it doesn't do the Y value basically. There's X and Z, and then I'll set Y. And then map character dot Y equals. Let's see what that does. Okay. This should do what I want it to do. We'll see. You were chopping up the yard? Were you using a butcher knife or the showcase? Now that you mention it, I think my voice is going through the same evolution. It's just getting old, right? Well, it's the old voice thing. You notice that, like, people who are of the more mature generations, a scythe, you mean? The voices get a little bit more, whatever that is, rougher. Start getting the old person voice. So if I were to work on my whack ability, what I'll do is I'll do I think it's play effect animation. I'm going to see if I can target the current target. And we'll make the effect weak hit. We're not going to wait. Actually, let's wait 2 seconds or 1 second just so we can see it happen. And we'll tell it to wait for it to complete. Oh, actually, we'll just make it wait a second. So it was breathing in weed debris. Weed debris. Were you really using a... Wait, when you say scathe, do you mean scythe? Like, you know, the thing, like Grim Reaper style? Or were you doing it Gangnam style? I'm not sure which. Are you kidding about using a scythe? Or you really are using a scythe? That's what I want to know. I want to know if you're being serious. You really were. Wow. So is your next gig going to be Reaper style? Or your lawnmower broke? How do you have it? Do you just have a scythe just hanging out? Like what? Perfect. Look, it works great. Do you see how she's not moving? Oh wait, it paused for some reason. Why did it pause? Did it hit a bug? Why did it pause? Error pause. What's the error? Oh, not set. Oh, right. This has to do with the character can't be null. Why did I do if that doesn't? Why did I do a nested if? I don't know why I did a nested if. That was stupid. Maybe like remove nesting without having to go and delete the. A Japanese grass saw, but it functions the same and looks the same. It's a cool idea. I mean, it certainly saves on using up gas or electric power. Try this again. Gotta run one more build. I think this will be a good opportunity after this to wrap up, so that I can be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for tomorrow to support my wife doing her CD release. Spiders are the only web developers who love finding bugs. That's not true. I like bugs. I like it when I can reproduce bugs. That's like the best. And I'm not talking about making a bug happen in code, if you know what I mean. Are you headed out, Dickie? Did my bug joke bug you? Right. Well, it didn't show the... I gotta figure out why it's not showing these animations. I'm not really sure yet what's going on there, but I'm not gonna worry about that. I'm gonna head out too. Dickie makes a good point. I got the base thing was now I have the core ability to do multiple effects. I'm gonna have to work a little bit on like some of the targeting of these events, but it'll work on any bush, right? This is what I'm really excited about is with this in place, we can just essentially define this object will always behave this way. So it's like defining the core behaviors of objects. And if we ever want to override it, we'll just turn the object into an event and then treat it differently. So I'm happy about that. I feel good about where this is at. Now the rest is going to be little tweaks and stuff. I probably won't stream working on that piece. Now I can just work on the on-map events and making them work. Pyra is pretty much done. I'm going to make her slash effect, and I'll make it so like the grass slashes when you hit it. And then I got to do Atlas's shooting thing and stuff. All right, let's do the credits. The old credits here. Thanks everybody for hanging out tonight. Appreciate it. And distracting me. Always good to be distracted a little bit. Sometimes life just takes distractions, you know? Who should we raid? Let me see here. Walliver's not streaming, so I can't raid him. We have Malweeksie's nice. Everyone's playing games tonight. Go hang out with Malweeksie. She's nice. She's really, really friendly streamer. Is she playing games? She's making games. I think she's actually making a game. No, playing a game. What are you doing? This can't be a game you're playing. You're making. Nobody's making games tonight. Why is that? Well, we'll go see Mom Weeks anyway, because she's nice. Alright. Hey, Soph, you have a good one too. Thanks again, everybody. Her stream says it's intended for mature audiences, but she's just not really that, like, bad overall. Those are the hype command thingies. All right, I'll be back on Tuesday as usual, working on stuff. See you guys later. Bye bye.